Someone you know got successful, and almost immediately, without thinking about it, you built a story around it. He's driven, she worked harder than everyone else. They wanted it more. The story arrived fast, felt complete, and you moved on. What you didn't do was sit with the actual complexity of how it happened. The timing, the circumstances they were born into, the specific combination of things that had to go right that had nothing to do with character. That part is harder to think about, so the brain just skipped it. This is what the brain does, not occasionally, constantly. It takes a messy, complicated reality and compresses it into something with a shape, a beginning, a middle, a reason. Someone did something because of who they are. Something happened because of something else. The world makes sense. The story holds. The feeling that comes with that is almost physical, a kind of settling. Psychologists call it cognitive ease. The relaxed state the brain enters when information fits together cleanly. It feels like understanding. It feels like clarity. It often isn't either of those things. It's just comfort. The brain isn't built for accuracy. That sounds harsh, but it's closer to true than most people want to admit. It's built for coherence. A world that makes sense is easier to navigate than a world that doesn't. So the mind finds patterns, builds explanations, assigns causes, and treats the resulting story as fact even when the story is mostly invented. This is called narrative bias, the tendency to trust a good story over complicated evidence even when the complicated evidence is more accurate. Personal accounts sway people more than statistics. A single story about one person's experience lands harder than data from 1,000 people, not because the single story is more reliable, but because it has a shape, because you can follow it, because the brain finds it easy. And easy feels true. That's the trap. Think about how quickly you form an impression of someone you just met. A few seconds of information, and the brain has already started building a character. He's the type who. She seems like someone who. The assessment feels like intuition, like reading people well. What's actually happening is the brain grabbing a few fragments and filling the rest in with whatever template fits closest. Stereotypes work on exactly this mechanism, not because people are lazy or malicious, but because the brain is running a compression algorithm. Too much information, not enough processing time, so it reaches for the category instead of the individual. He's from this place, so probably. She does this job, so likely. The category isn't accurate, but it is fast. And fast was more important than accurate for most of human history. The problem is the brain doesn't flag when it's doing this. There's no signal that says, this is a shortcut, not a conclusion. The compressed version and the carefully considered version feel identical from the inside. Both arrive as a sense of knowing. This is where fake certainty comes from. You've met someone once and feel like you understand them. You watched something happen and feel like you know why. You formed an opinion on something complex and it feels solid, not provisional. The certainty is as real as a feeling. What's underneath it is a story the brain built quickly from partial information and then stopped questioning. And once a story is in place, it's sticky. Confirmation bias keeps it there. New information that fits the story gets absorbed easily. Information that contradicts it gets noticed less, remembered less, or quietly reframed until it fits. The story protects itself. What makes this genuinely strange is that knowing about it doesn't fully fix it. You can understand narrative bias clearly, intellectually, and still feel the pull of a clean explanation over a messy one. Still feel that settling sensation when a story holds together. Still find yourself trusting the version that makes sense over the version that is more honest about uncertainty. The brain doesn't stop preferring coherence just because you've read about it. Reality is mostly context, circumstance, timing, and things that don't fit any clean arc. But that version is hard to hold. It doesn't compress well. It doesn't feel like understanding. So the brain builds a story instead, and then mistakes the story for what actually happened.